Hello and welcome to the Friday, June 9th, 2023 SIG ContribEx Contributor Comms meeting. I am Chris Short, your co-lead and host with the most for today's meeting. Caslin is out. Her family's in town. Friendly reminder, this is a Kubernetes meeting. As such, it is going to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. And please don't say anything that you wouldn't want your mom to hear. That's just basically my best advice I can give y'all. All right. It's a small group of us today, so we can kind of plow through here. If you haven't made any updates to the notes, go ahead. I've put some updates in here. We can just go ahead and get started. I will mention updates and big wins. Significant progress has been made with the Zapier migration, to the point where it's like Nigel looked at it and he was like, "What do you want me to do exactly?" And I was like, "Just review it and make sure it looks right and is acting right, and then flip them." That's the next step. I know, like the CDN article got published today. That's further down. But Federico, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I just added there as an update, but nothing major to say. You followed the process, so it was published. And that's it. I suppose that we should now try to make it.
It is a milestone, though, right? Like, it's the first time someone's come directly to us and been like, "Hey, this is kind of the info we need to get out."
Yeah.
So this could be like a contributor comms use case potentially. Using my marketing brain, right? Like, Arnaud came to us, came to a meeting, told us what he needed, and what? 4 weeks later, the blog was published. Less than 4 weeks later, I think. That's pretty good, right? When you talk about reviews and edits and, technical stuff, that's really good for such a critical change. And the fact that we were come to early enough so that it wasn't like emergency comms or, critical comms kind of a situation. So
like it was for the registry one, right?
Right. Yeah, like that literally consumed a week for me. Caslin was out. Federico, I forget where you got involved at some point. So the fact that this happened and it worked and it was successful and it just smoothly came out, I think that is worthy of a potential Kubernetes.dev article or blog post of some sort, right? Like, we could get Arnaud and Dims and other people's opinions, whoever, was involved in the process, we could get quotes from them. And it literally could be a use case, right? Like, kind of thing, if we're in that marketing box for a moment. So yeah, I think that could be worth doing. If you think it's worth doing, Federico, you tell me. It's contributor comms talking about itself. So
yeah, it's very, very meta, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But to me, this is we should celebrate as a group of folks. We should celebrate this. If you haven't shared the article, go ahead, share it, give it a little context on social media, right? Like, a group of folks came to contributor comms, very important contributor or maintainers, I should say, very important Kubernetes maintainers came to contributor comms with an issue they wanted to communicate out. Within a matter of a few weeks, a blog post was published. It was thoroughly reviewed by everybody and got exactly what needed to be done to it. So could we speed up the process? Are there lessons learned here? We could do a retro if we wanted, I think, but there's more here is what I'm trying to say. If somebody wants a Kates.dev blog post, this would be pretty cool, right? Because you interview Federico, you interview the other authors, and then you just talk about the process, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
Few
I'm
paragraphs, the big
completely agree.
one, done, you know?
Yeah, and it would also help us in, as you mentioned, our scope is constantly adapting to the things that need to be
Yeah.
done in a way.
Right,
So
right.
I guess that this could be something that we should add to our rule book as well, and
Yeah. Our
start taking more ownership
function.
of, right?
Right. Yeah, like we can get your critical communications out in a sane and effective manner.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I don't know
Okay.
if maybe people here can can sit on it and see if they want to do it. Perhaps better than, for example, me starting it, because then
Right.
I
Like
would
I'm
be
gonna
talking
post it
with
in the
myself,
channel.
right?
I'll post it in the
Yeah,
channel after the
exactly.
meeting, you know, and just,
Perfect.
you know, we'll go from there, right? Like somebody might
Exactly.
actually be like, oh, that's a cool thing. Let me do that, right? Like you'll get to talk to some nice people, you know. These are
Yeah.
great people to work with in general. So interviewing them would be awesome.
Yeah. Perfect.
Kate's.dev blog.
Maybe we should update the board.
Yeah. I was gonna go to the board. Again, if you haven't
I
seen it,
think we can do it later.
yeah. If you haven't seen it, here's a link to the article. It's pretty awesome. I'm just gonna go through these real quick. There's no tweet PRs or anything. I haven't checked them yet, so I'm not sure there's anything we need to be necessarily worried about next week. To meetings, yeah. Is anybody here on the release team? I'm curious how things are going if you're on it.
I'm on.
Oh, you are. That's right.
I'm shadowing for release notes.
Nice. Everything going okay?
I don't see anything out of the ordinary.
Cool. All right.
Although I'm more focused on trying to learn how release notes works right now. So, but from the discussions in the channels, I don't think there's any major issue going on.
Cool. I would be curious to learn how the release note system works if you ever find like the thing that teaches you that or shows you that. I've always been fascinated by that process. So yeah,
I'm learning it right now. So yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Because like, not to over rotate potentially, but that could be something that we do every release, right? Like we can just rotate through folks. Like, hey, you're just managing release notes if it's, you know, a relatively simple process. You know, it is a release artifact. It'd be cool if we got involved somehow in the release process.
True, absolutely.
But, you know, I understand our numbers are not exactly there either.
But I can try to make that bridge in this release at least, and we can use that as
I tried it once, but it didn't go so well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, you'll have to tell me more about that. But
well, I mean, I think it was a year ago, and I had just transitioned jobs here in AWS, and it was like, I was really like not well timed to submit my application for a shadow. Okay. So yeah, we've always wanted presence on the release teams. So yeah, I don't know. Worth recruiting for, I feel like, for sure. Where's the notes?
And also you mentioned something important. We should perhaps, just like the SIG Spotlights articles sometimes have questions about the day-to-day, and also questions about release specific work. Maybe we should brainstorm a bit about what is our role in terms of the releases themselves. So what kind of
what do we want to
specific do? Where do we fit in that timeline? And with that, we can start to go into the right channels at the right time for example, following up obviously they have a comms team there as
Right.
well. So the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
thing
yeah.
would be to
Just
to
have a constant
liaison with that.
interface. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that I think that's worth some thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. As always. Trying to write that down as a note. Relief team liaison idea. I'll just put again. We have talked about it before.
So for
No
now,
one's-
our role as a group in the release process is to just promote the blogs and stuff that happens at the end of the release, right? Or are we?
That's our role
involved in
right
some
now.
other-
Yeah. And how we do that, it's the same way we do all blog post sharing, is just through our automation. So yeah, like that's pretty much on autopilot, right? Like there's
Yep.
that problem solved. I think having us on the release team adds skills to our team, essentially, where people will just naturally come to us for comms at some point, right? Because so many people go through the release team, they learn about us, they talk to us, they realize they need us, and here they come, kind of thing. So yeah, just one of those things. Cool. All right. There's no contributor tweets. Go to the 40 board. Let's see, which board is the board on? There we go. Where does Caslin usually start? In progress, I guess. We've talked about what's done, so
Yeah.
Spotlight Book Reading Club. Any update there, folks?
No.
No. Okay. No worries.
No, and actually that's delayed because I need to reach out again to Carlos. So yeah, that's my priority for this week because the others
Okay.
are already done. I was focusing on SIG architecture. That one
Yeah.
was falling behind a bit. So yeah.
Mhm. Cool. So if you need help with Carlos, let me know. He's a coworker.
Yeah.
I talk to him all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. And
I can get
and
his
it-
attention. I was just talking to him about
Perfect.
stuff for topics for KubeCon yesterday, right? Like it happens.
Excellent. So yeah, I'll definitely ping you with that.
Mhm.
I was also sort of a coworker when he was at IBM, and I was also at IBM.
Right.
But just being a coworker in different continents, it's just that. I'll ping you with when I'm going to send him something today.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
And
to
if
remind
you don't
him
hear
of
anything
this.
by
And
Tuesday, feel free to ping me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. You mentioned the architecture spotlight.
Yeah, we are. Some content is starting to drip in. We have 2 of the 6 sub-projects with answers. Another one or 2 are partially done. So I would say that we are halfway there in terms of content.
Okay.
And there are 2 of them that are still without anything, but I'll ping people to remind them. Some of them are to be expected because people are told that they were out of office or out of office in general, out in vacations, right? So yeah, I think this is progressing well enough that by next week I can have a decent view on what kind of content will have, and actually then discuss with all of you the approach for this, because if I do get 6 different sub projects, questions and answers, and if I add an additional overview discussion with with the leads, this is like substantial in terms of content, right?
It's a lot.
So maybe a series, maybe like with all the answers, I'll think of a good way to make this as impactful as and interesting to read as possible.
Yeah, if you do a series, right? Like timing that and all that, like that becomes a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let me know if you need help with any of that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. So add all use cases for Zapier automation. I mean, we have the Zapier account. My update was Nigel was, looking it over kind of thing and seeing if anything needed to be tweaked. I found some, now that we can have multi-step zaps, I found some cool ways to already improve our existing Zapiers. So, or zaps. So yeah, like the filters and everything else, the multi-step process. I feel like with this account, we can do something with GitHub finally. I just haven't had time to tinker. If somebody else wants to take on the GitHub Twitter thing to through Zapier, feel free to raise your hand and help out, and I can get you going with Imran if need be, or whomever. Cool. Spotlight CLI. I'm assuming that's not started or is in progress. Questions were sent. Where'd we go? And do you know anything about the SIG CLI?
Sorry?
The SIG CLI spotlight? Sorry.
No.
No. Okay, cool.
No.
That is on me.
But who
Oh, that's
was
on you.
the-
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so the 6 CLI first draft is almost ready. One of my doubts is, so do I have to make a PR for the first draft itself, or do I need to have it reviewed by someone?
I defer to Fred.
Yeah, you so yeah. So if you have the content there, you should share it in the state that it is, either on Google Docs or on HackMD, with me and with the channel. So this is like a joint effort, just so that anyone can just give their own thoughts, and after that we can open the PR and etc. But the first thing about the content itself, when you think that it's ready for from your point of view, just share a link in the in our channel in Slack, and that creating a thread for discussion on SIG Spotlight CLI article, link to the Google Docs or HackMD, and then we will discuss that on that thread. If you take a quick look into this is slightly different because the CDN article was for the website, not for Kates.dev, but this one actually is for both. So that's another, that's why this process is important. You will see that I have like stage 1, please review, stage 2, open the PR, stage 3, that's published. In this specific case, we will have more because this will be published on both Kates.dev and also on the website. If I remember correctly, that's the default approach for Spotlight articles. They get published in both. And actually, the understanding that we have, and that's documented, is that we will first make all the discussions, first of all, internal. That's why you should share it in the channel with all of us so that we can just exchange some ideas. After that, and ideally in HackMD, if you can, just to make it as close as possible to the final PR. But if not, the Google Docs is fine. Then the PR it will be open against Kates.dev, and that's where the substantial revision by the Docs team and others will be done. And after that, opening the PR against the main website will be just a formality, because the content itself will already have been reviewed first for the Kates.dev website. So I think this is the best approach.
Yeah, it's just
Okay,
easier.
so maybe by Sunday I will share a Google Doc link for the first draft, which I am working on to review.
Okay.
And then we will see what if there are any suggestions I can implement.
Okay, excellent.
Awesome. I haven't added my notes to the docs yet, and I'm also
Also, I have one doubt. Like, I am trying to edit the shadow registry for where the shadow role is available is written my GitHub account name. But do I have to make an PR for that, or do I need to because I am not a member of the Kates org, so I cannot edit it.
So
this is a tough one. What's the process here? I forget.
yeah, right. So there
I know
are.
we've done it.
It
I know
was
blog posts have been people's
No.
first contributions before.
Yeah, that's so. Let's from what I can say this opening the PR itself. It's one open the PR is one thing, but actually having your name in the commit message is another. So even if I'm the one opening the PR, let's assume that that's the case. What I will do, like I did, for example, in the last blog article, is that I will add the author there as the author in the commits, because by using the co-authored by log entry. And what will happen is that will automatically link the commits to the GitHub accounts of the committer. So for any purpose related with Kubernetes contribution, statistics, etc., that will directly count. So I think this is important just to that everyone is aware that their contribution will be officially registered regardless of anything else. For the other part of the question, which is how do you open a PR, for example, yourself without being a member of the Kubernetes organization? I was not even absolutely sure if you need to be a member of the organization to open PRs. Maybe you are, but if it is required, what I just said works. I or anyone else can open the PR, adding you specifically as the author, and you will be you'll be credited for the contribution, which will then be you can use that for gaining Kubernetes org membership. If it has, I think it has some requirements in terms of amount of commits or something like that. That's my take on it. I don't know, Chris, what you...
I think that's probably the right path to go. The commit message is what, or the committer or committee, I guess, is more important than who opens the actual issue or PR, right? Like, it's the person doing the work that matters. So we'll figure it out. If you have issues, just come to me. I can go to the Git gurus or whatever it may be. But I'm pretty sure it's something we can do, right? Like, this will get you your org membership or get you on your way to it at least. Cool. Anything else on the topic? Arpit, you good?
No, but only this that I am trying to figure out how to get that done, because Kathleen last time told me to add my name on the social media shadow so that folks know that role is not available for them now. But maybe I cannot open the PR for it yet. So maybe I will ask on Slack how to do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, I think. That'd be a fun issue to dive on.
Are you sure you're not able to open up the PR?
Yeah, usually there is a edit button to edit a README file if I'm not wrong. That is not there.
Huh, weird.
Weird.
In the rule book, README if I'm not wrong.
In the README here, you're just trying to change this, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Probably already have this fork somewhere. Nope, go to my existing fork. Oh dear God. This is not what I want.
You can just hit on the
Scroll-
arrow button on the right side. Yeah, on fork.
This add file?
Uh, no, on
No, if
the
you
fork.
maybe you just
This one.
or you can just edit it, right? Because it automatically creates a fork.
Right. And I
Yeah,
have
exactly.
a fork. Yeah. So do you see that button or Arbit or not? That would be a very telling question. Here, let me grab the URL.
I need to change devices, so to continue.
Let me drop this in chat real quick.
I don't think we have protected anything like that in the repo that a non-member cannot edit it.
Yeah, that would be a weird. I don't know, but who knows with Prow? I don't know. Not an org member. Okay, it shouldn't really matter yet, right? I don't know. Also, where is my fork?
If you go on the fork thing, there is a arrow down top button, right? Yeah. Just
Oh,
click
yeah.
on it.
Oh, that's very nice. Here's my fork. Haven't synced in a while. So I am an org member, but I would still clone this, which I have somewhere, I'm sure. Where's my gets? Readme. Let's pull out updates. It's gonna take forever. Yeah, if you have a fork, you should be able to commit to that fork and then submit a PR.
No, after forking, I am seeing one edit button. Can I present my screen if
Yeah.
that is okay?
Feel free. Hang on. Let me make sure you can do that. I'm just gonna make you a co-host. Have at it.
I cannot present my screen because host permissions
Oh
are denied.
yeah. Hang on. Sorry. Some communication tools you can kick people off the screen share.
Is it visible?
Yes. Yeah, I see the little edit button there for the README. The little pencil thing.
Yeah. So if I'm not wrong, it is coming here.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it should ask you, what do you want to change? You change it, and then you hit commit. It's in the table, so should be
Yeah.
like line 20 something. Or teens. Go in the teens because you see. What are you looking for? Social media coordinator,
Yes.
shadow, and then where it says shadow role is available, you need to put your GitHub handle. That's all.
So if I'm not wrong, I just need to commit.
Yeah, make a commit and then
Is it okay to commit it directly in master?
good question. I mean, you can try it. It shouldn't hurt since like this is your only branch, so
Yeah, you can do it.
So-
I usually do it on the master itself, which is not a good practice though.
not a good practice, but you can do it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
matter.
why I'm asking. Should I create a other branch or I should directly do it?
It doesn't matter coming from your side so much unless you have like multiple branches in flight, right? Like, yeah. So yeah, create pull request.
Do I need to mention anything more or?
I would just say, yeah, you know, like just say, hey, adding myself as a shadow, like underneath the comment block or above it, wherever you see fit.
I can't get the comments option here.
No. This is just a markdown file. You don't need to do all that. So where it says under fixes, and then there's a pound sign or hashtag there, just put adding myself as shadow underneath that. Go up.
Like here.
Right. No, just go up to the block that's open. So
This.
like add a line at the end. And then just say adding myself a shadow.
It is okay.
Yeah. And then create pull request and off you go. So if you share that, you can drop it in chat or whatever. I should be able to go see it. Yeah, hang on. Oh, you got to sign the CLA first. Yeah, click here to be authorized. You got to do that regardless.
So I need to do anything here or?
Yeah, click that. It's the what do they call it? Contributor license agreement. You have to sign this before you can commit to anything in Linux Foundation. So it's going to ask you some simple questions, I think. Internal server error. Oh, fun. All right. Let me mention that in the comms channel, or not comms, but ContribEx channel. But yeah, once you do the CLA thing, and that's all good, it'll say, you know, like
So the
it'll give
link,
me the option to
basically
actually approve it.
disappear.
Pull request cannot be automatically merged. That's fine, right? Like only those with right access to this repository can merge pull request, which I have. So you still have to do the CLA somehow. And we have
So is there any way I can sign the contributors guideline or?
Yeah, you just
Maybe.
there's a process. We have it documented and you just need to kind of run through it, and that's part of it. So hang on, let me grab a link for you. Getting started. There you go. So check out this link, right? And that'll show you like how to get to the CLA with link to their README, and off you go.
So the PR is okay. Should I like stop it or what? I need to do it again.
You need to do the CLA again. So if you go to the guide, it'll take you to assign the CLH section, which actually lands you here in this next link. And it shows you how to do the process of making that happen. If you get another 500 error, you definitely need to say something in the ContribEx channel, right? Because that being broke is like a really bad problem and we need to fix it. I've already
Okay,
mentioned, I've
so
already asked it
basically,
if it's broke. Like, so go to the CLA.md file and then it'll show you that whole process there.
okay, so after doing that, I need to make the change again, or this PR
No,
is
no, no,
valid.
no. The PR will be
No.
good. Like
Okay.
once you sign that, it'll run Prow again eventually.
Okay.
And I'll hit LGTM and approve and should be good to go. Then at that point, right, like just do the work and then you'll get your work membership in due time.
Thanks for helping me out for this
Oh, no
one.
problem. No problem at all. That's what we're here for.
Is there any other way I can help? Like, I am trying to find issues in the Kate's organization so that I can gain the membership on my own.
Mhm.
But like apart from documentation, like I have basic knowledge of Kate's deployments and Docker. So can I do like if you know any other SIGs or anything that they need these kinds
Mhm.
of contributors. So I will be more than happy to help.
So yeah, there's a lot of SIGs out there. And like SIG, Kate's infra, like there's usually some barrier to entries to the highly technical ones, right? Like SIG node, you kind of need to already know Kubernetes in and out to be able to work in that one. But there are other ones where you can kind of just jump in and help. Kate's infra is one of them. I've gone and done random PRs for them before. I've added redirects to, you know, our random web server that we have out there on a Kate's cluster that's doing all the redirects for us. Stuff like that is super easy to do. There's harder stuff in the SIG Kate's infra that you can work your way up to though, for sure. And they would really appreciate the help. I know that. Like other SIGs, there's also in the kubernetes.dev site, the getting started guide. I think there's something about SIGs. If not, we can find you something, or I can find you something. There's a SIG list somewhere. SIG list. Kubernetes SIG list. Yeah, it's in GitHub, of course. So yeah, here's all the SIGs. But yeah, SIG docs needs a lot of help. They have a lot of process to get the docs out the door in a quality manner. So they've got a lot of their own tooling and systems in place, helping them with that. Like architecture is hard. If you worked for a cloud provider, you could do that. Cluster lifecycle, you have to know Kubernetes. Docs, you don't. Contributor experience, you don't. Instrumentation, you do. Kate's infra, you can get into that pretty easily. Multi-cluster, you need Kate's knowledge. Same with network, same with node. Release is like a whole thing. It's its own SIG, and then there's a release team for every release. Those are two different things. Just keep that in mind. SIG scalability, you got to understand like the autoscalers, vertical, horizontal kind of thing before you dive in. SIG scheduling, you got to understand how that Kubernetes scheduler works really well. Same with security, you got to understand like attack surface within Kubernetes more so than, you know, the internals of Kubernetes, but like you got to do security reviews and stuff like that too. So you kind of have to know both. If you know a lot about storage, you can probably get into storage pretty quickly. Testing, pretty high bar to clear. UI, I feel like, I don't know, like You could maybe get into that, but they really need. I don't want to say it on. I don't want to say anything negative on video, but like UI has had its ups and downs over the years. I'll just say that, where they've been more active and less active. So they could be less active right now. Your mileage may vary. Usability is always a good thing, but you got to have like accessibility experience and all that kind of stuff. It's more so UX and design and just proper practices around that. And then obviously SIG Windows, you would have to know Windows and how Kubernetes works with Windows. There's a bunch of working groups too. There's, you know, you can do all kinds of things just if you know. There's committees, higher level, right? Like steering, security response, code of conduct. Those are all things you can work your way up to. You know, all of these SIGs have leads and shadows and everything else, just like we do. So yeah, like if you're into batch processing, the batch working group is pretty dope. If you're into like policy, there's a policy working group that has members from a lot of different SIGs. So, you know, you should look at it like, what are you trying to gain? You know, are you trying to become a contributor? Are you trying to become a maintainer? What is, you know, what is your goal in the community? Once you figure that out, that makes it a little bit easier to kind of narrow down like which direction you should go in. So yeah, like just being a contributor, that's a fine goal, right? That's basically what I am. And now I'm a co-lead of a sub project. So yeah, you just work your way up the ladder. It's pretty cool, right? Like it's very much a, if you've done the work, you get the, you know, leadership roles kind of thing. So yeah, that's my little SIG tour on like a micro level. All right. I got a few minutes left here. Let's go back to whichever board I was on. There's a window in here somewhere, I swear. Somewhere. Oh, it's here. Duh. No. There. Wow. Entire open source window has disappeared. There it is. All right. Is anyone working on the guidelines for end user impacting comms? I don't think so. But I think we saw the process and how it worked. So Federico, Kat, Kazlin, myself, we can work on that. SIG Node, who's working on that? Tish, are you here? No. Okay. Whoa. Do that. Spotlight SIG ContribEx. That's in Kazlin's court. Update storytelling resources to blogging resources. Frederico's on that. Investigate Twitter Spaces. I haven't done any I mean, I know all I know about Twitter Spaces, right? Like that is to be determined, I'll say. SIG release. Again, Natish. Myself and Nigel are still working on the jobs, Zapier jobs. And then these requirements for shadows. Yeah, you all need to kind of work on them if we're leads, essentially. But with 10 minutes, 9 minutes left, any other questions? I'm happy to help with anything. Go ahead, Yash.
Yeah, so hello, Chris. I think we talked about the use case issue of the Zapier. So is it free to take this up, as you talked about, mentioned before?
For GitHub? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to grab like the way it's been done, the way we've usually tested stuff with Zapier in the past, like you test it under your account and see if you can get it working, or like a dummy account in some cases if you want. If you can make it work there, then it's really easy to port over, right? Like we just copy the instructions.
Yeah, so
Or we could
I
just
went to
grant you access and you put the whole Zap in there and off you go.
yeah, so yeah, I went to work on that also. So if you can help me out, or like Atharva, I think he works with his Zapier, so we can also
Yeah.
take help from yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is just like creating a test environment for yourself to see if you can. Basically, we're going to get GitHub issues and try to turn them into tweets, right? So like we need an issue template at some point. We need whatever Zapier needs to figure out what the content is versus what the metadata is. Like we need a way to do that. Or it could just be like your issue must be exactly your tweet. And we have, like if it doesn't go out, that invalidation error comes back to the contributor at account. So we could figure that out, kind of thing if it didn't go out. So yeah, the automation of that is going to be interesting, right? Like it's going to be a several step thing. It's going to be like, okay, GitHub issue, the content of the actual issue block itself, parse that into a tweet. Length has to be checked, like you got to have some other things happening there, and then go to buffer. And then there has to be two of them because you need one for each account and buffer, Twitter and Mastodon. But figure out how to do it first is the hardest part. Someone, I forget who, had made some progress on that at some point.
It was Atharva. He did
Artava,
add that.
yeah. He might have left some notes somewhere, maybe. Like just search our issues for it, maybe, and there'll be some things mentioned in there. He got close or did get it, I want to say. So he might have written that down somewhere.
Yeah, I think he was able to figure out half of the portion. The only
Yeah.
thing, which is the integration of Zapier and GitHub thing. So
Right.
fetching
Like that's
data
the
from
hard
it.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was done. However, the talks were that we need to to get those parameters on which our content on the GitHub issues was supposed to judge if we want to send it to buffer or not. And also there was this question going around that you might there's no notification. I mean, we want a loop back thing kind
Yeah,
of
we
thing
want
there,
something
right?
in the issue itself, right? Like we have to be able to use the issue as like an approval process too, right? So that's the other interesting part. And then like the feedback, oh yes, this did go out kind of thing is important. But those are very, very sticky issues. And I mean, we have support, I'm pretty sure, from the Zapier team, because we have like the enterprise level account, I think. So we can ask for help there. Would be interesting to see what they thought about the idea. Can always ask.
Yeah, so like I want to work on that. So like what how can I get the whole workflow that is already been set up, or like we can have a progress to how can I look up?
Great question. I don't know if that was documented. But go
That's
to the contributor comms section in the community repo and look for stuff about Zapier and the issues. And I feel like you'll have, if you go through the closed and open issues, I feel like you'll see everything that we've been able to do probably multiple times over if you want. That'd be the first place I'd start. And then I'd just start working with a dummy account on a dummy repo somewhere to just kind of see if you can even get it to work in any capacity. If it,
I can
like,
help you out.
yeah, like feel free to
Yeah,
team
thank
up
you,
with
Avinash.
somebody.
I can maybe connect you to Atharva, and because I was aware about all those things that he was building, so I can help you set up those things.
Yeah, that
Again.
would be awesome. Avinash, let me know.
Yeah, cool.
If it's like, if you get to the point where it's like, we have to have this extra multiple step thing and you can't do it with a free account, let me know. But I feel like that'll be quite some research down the road kind of thing. Cool. All good there. Yeah, Avanish, Yash, sync up, next week sometime or
Yep.
whenever it's convenient for y'all.
Yeah, and there's a quick question from the Arpit, if we can answer it in the chat.
Yeah, ARPIT, always do it individual unless you are like a donating or contributing on behalf of your employer. Or are operating clusters for consumers. Basically, I think is the other caveat. But like, even though I'm on AWS, I'm still an individual because I'm not a maintainer working at AWS on Kubernetes full time.
Thanks for the help.
No problem. I'm happy to help out anybody with this at any point in time. I will probably take a snippet of this video and turn it into a blog post somewhere. I feel like I can just be like Chris Short explains X. If that's like something, I'll let somebody look at it and be like, yo, that's a good idea. And we'll figure out where to publish that. If it lands on my own blog, fine. No big deal. All right. It's 1 minute till the end of our show, or not show, meeting. Thank you all for joining. Any other questions or anything before we
Hey, I
go?
got one thing for last minute.
Yeah, what's up?
As far as I remember, I think the SIG network spotlight was only published in the website, not in the cades.io. So
Should it have been gone to the case.io? I think the spotlights are dev only, but like the big issues like registry and CDN are both. I forget how that works. Ping Frederico on Slack, he would know. It's still well, it's 6 o'clock his time. So
yeah, I'll do that.
yeah, just ask him, like, are they supposed to go to both places? Chris didn't know.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you all for being here, and I'll stop recording.